Good evening. The Rancho Board of Education meeting for Monday, December 13th, 2021 is now called to order. If all would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, Catherine Cullen will lead us.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Kim, can you take a roll call for us tonight?
My pleasure. President Galbraith.
Present.
Vice President Morgan.
Present.
Secretary Scott.
Present.
Board Member Cullen.
Present.
Board Member Tripp.
Present.
You have a quorum, 5-0.
Thank you. All right, we'd like to welcome everyone out to our meeting tonight. It is always nice to have members from our community here with us, and so we welcome everyone who's here tonight, especially those who are going to be giving comment. And we have some awesome football players here with us too, and we welcome them being here. We get to honor them in just a few minutes. Tonight, we'll go ahead and start off with some introductory comments by our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. V. Sue Cleveland.
Except it's not coming up online. Okay.
It's still not coming off of mine.
This is just the YouTube, so why not do we just open, I don't think, do you want to just open the computer?
No, I'm going through it here. I'm just, I'm having one of those days.
All right. Well, we're pulling that up. I just want to thank everyone for being here, and sorry that we started a few minutes late. Our previous meeting went a little bit over, and so it takes us a few minutes with all of the technology to get everything put together. So we appreciate everyone being patient.
Okay. The first slide, please. We have some special awards this evening. One of the most exciting awards is to recognize our state football champions for this for the state this year in 6A. It was an incredibly good year considering all of the challenges that we had with COVID-19, challenges with practices, challenges with schedules. It just seemed like there were so many obstacles that had to overcome. But both of our high schools did very well. The championship game was between the Rio Rancho Rams and the Cleveland Storm. And everything in New Mexico is built against having that happen. It's just, it's just a miraculous thing when it actually does. This is the second time our teams have met together in the state championship. And so it was a really remarkable year. Bruce Carver, who's our Executive Director of Athletics, is going to speak to the Cleveland Storm's achievements that led up to the 2021 6A state championship this season. And we will be recognizing some of our coaches and our players. Again, I'll tell you, it was an extremely exciting game. It's been exciting to watch the teams this year. We are just thrilled for the Storm and for this incredible accomplishment. And I'm going to turn it over now to Bruce Carver to say a few words. And again, thank you so much for being here with us this evening. Really appreciate you being here.
Good evening, President Galbraith, fellow board members, and Dr. Cleveland. It's a real honor to be up here and recognize the Cleveland High School football team, Coach Ridenhour, the head coach, and the entire staff. I can't say enough about these boys going 13-0, going undefeated this year, and they actually came back 20 points down in 2 different games and overcame adversity, which shows you that, they did whatever it took. And just can't say enough about these boys. They just had a tremendous season. And actually, it was officially the 4th state title for Cleveland High School. We won one last year, but wasn't official probably, you'd say, because we just had the 5. We won't even go into all that, but really it's 5 in a row, okay? It's 5 in a row. I'm so glad that we hired Coach Ridenhour back in 2010. And he came to us from Clovis High School. He was an assistant coach for them, and he became assistant coach for us, and he became our offensive coordinator in 2010. We named him our head coach in 2012. And one of the best moves we ever made. You know, I'm so proud of the way the accomplishments that brought to Cleveland and the Storm and the high school, the football successes, but also for Rio Rancho Public Schools. It's been great publicity. It's been great recognition for our school district, what Cleveland's done. But more than anything, I am proud of the way that Coach Ridenhour leads this program. He really instills character, values, teaches life skills, and I truly believe that it carries on with these young men their entire life. I think it helps them tremendously, and I just can't say enough about him. So with that being said, I want Coach Ridenhour to come up and say a few words about his team and introduce the young men that are here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for having us, Mr. Carver. Thank you for those kind words. I do appreciate that. It's an honor to be recognized here tonight. This is not something that happens real often, and to be able to be here in front of you all is a huge honor. And I brought 3 guys with me that exemplify what a Cleveland Storm football player is. Representing our senior class over on the far side is Braden Ford, played outside linebacker for us. Representing our junior class is Evan Weissong, who played quarterback for us. And representing our sophomore class, a 2-year starter for us, is Stratton Schufelt, right there in the middle. And speaking about this football team, I think you got to go back to the 2019 team. We were loaded. We had some really good seniors, and COVID hit. And I don't think anybody really knows the true effect that COVID had on our kids and our football program, and specifically. But it was a tough time, and I felt like I was lying to the kids pretty often, telling them we were going to get to play. And the resiliency that they showed, and they kept fighting, and they stuck together as a team, and we got the opportunity to play. I absolutely think 2019 or 2021 was a championship just because of the resiliency our guys showed through the COVID deal. We jumped into summer with this group of guys, having graduated a bunch of individuals, and these guys wanted to continue to protect the tradition, as we say, and they fought, and that resiliency that they gained through COVID showed. It was very evident during the season this year. We were down 20 to Volcano Vista during district, and came back and played a really good second half and won the football game 44-33. Played in the district championship down 20-0 against Rio Rancho, and came back and won a close game 28-27. And then really gained our ground in the playoffs and had a really good run, and ended up winning the state championship, as you all know. But anytime you win a championship like this, it just reflects so much more than the efforts of a coach or a staff or whatever. But there's so many more people that are involved in this process, and you guys giving us the opportunity logistically to be around the kids, to have access to them during the school day, and give us the facilities and the things that we have enable us to have the opportunity to be successful. And I think that's what a lot of places are missing. There are people like you all that understand how important it is and how it engages students in the classroom. And we do push very hard to work on being good men, being good daddies in the future, and good husbands, and good contributing members to society. It's more than football for us. It really is. So I was really proud of the resiliency they showed this season, and we will continue to move on. I would like to give a big shout out to my staff. I got an unbelievable staff that great guys, and work hard to do what they do for these kids on a daily basis. So much more than just football. I wish I could share all the stories with you and the things that they do to sacrifice their own time for these guys. And then our administration at Cleveland, Mr. Affentranger and Matt Martinez, our athletic director, just go above and beyond to provide for the students at Cleveland High School. And I think it's so much more of just than our football team. It's an environment that we're in for sure. And a big thank you to these guys standing right here that represent our team. The committing to something bigger than themselves is not common today for teenagers. It's so easy to sit on the couch and play video games and just do the individual thing. And these guys are committing to something far bigger than themselves, and they're experiencing that team. And I think these are the leaders of tomorrow. And I'm pretty proud of these guys and what they've done for our program, but more excited for what they're going to do in the future. So thank you all so very much. I won't take up any more time. Thank you for allowing us to come.
Hey, before you guys sit down, will you guys give us a second to talk about you, boys? Come here for just a second. We have this thing where we have to say some really, sappy things and nice things to you. So just give us a second. First, I just want to say this has been an amazing season, and thank goodness we could get back and get out there and play and not have all the restrictions that we've had in the past. It's been a good season. And our athletes, man, you guys are dedicated. And I'm more familiar over at Rio because I work right by there, but I'm guessing you guys get there really early in the morning and start working out, right? And so it's a hard thing that you did this year, and you proved yourselves to be the best. That game, the one before state that you played with Rio, I think I almost lost my voice actually the next day. It was a pretty intense game, and you just continued to show it every single time you played. And so good job this year. Okay, great job. So I'm going to go down the board just really quick and let them, and if you guys have anything you want to ask them, you guys can ask them that too. But we'll start with Gary Tripp.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Coach Heath and the young man, congratulations. I don't know all the things I wanted to say when I saw the agenda. I wrote down actually at home a million things to say, but what kept coming to my mind was when Coach got on TV in the middle of the year and said how much he loves you guys and how much you guys love each other. And, I just go back to what Coach said that day on the TV screen. And he said, it's about the journey. It's about how you guys love each other and how you guys will go to battle for each other in good times and in bad times. And I've seen you do that when we had loss of life at that school. I've seen you do that at every time. And I just can't help but thank the good Lord that we have a gentleman in front of us that leads young men every day and shows them the whole picture of life. And you guys are the way what you do for each other. You demonstrated true championship storm pride. Your coaches believed in you, and you believed in each other. And I can go on and on. But thank you for what you did for this community. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks. All right, Jeff Morgan.
Just want to say congratulations to you guys. And Coach, as long as you're winning, I have a happy home. But my wife, all she talks about is Cleveland Storm. So man, don't lose. It makes for a hard Friday and Saturday and Sunday. So again, congratulations to you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thanks. Then Catherine Collin.
Yes, congratulations. And my husband's one of the loud fans out there cheering you guys on. So, and he's here tonight. So he's a big Storm supporter. So thank you so much for all you do, Coach. I know that it's been a tough couple of years, and you guys did a fantastic job. So congratulations.
Noreen Scott.
Thank you very much for your effort and for your excitement and support for your school. It makes us all very proud. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Dr. Cleveland, do you want to add anything else while they're up here?
One more thing. Coach, right now, you're exactly right. You have every reason. I saw my teacher voice, but that's okay. You had every reason not to do it this year, not to win the title. There were so many excuses that could have been given for not having taken the title this year. And yet you just didn't let that deter you, and you just stayed the course, and you worked so hard. Some of the games were a tad too exciting. They were heart-stopping kind of games. But I just want to echo what everyone else has said. We are so proud for you. and for the tremendous job and effort that you gave this year. We also, just hope that you have continued success. And last comment is that the players are the ones that get out there and make it happen, but it doesn't happen without an outstanding coaching staff. And we have an outstanding coaching staff. And so also want to thank all of the coaches who were part of this season as well as the players. So again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, gonna go on to the next slide. We knew that they needed to get out of here, so that's why we moved it up. We have a special recognition this evening. We have outgoing board member, Catherine Cullen. Catherine has served for 8 years on the Board of Education and is currently, as if you were here earlier, know that she was the chair of the Finance Committee. She has served as both president and vice president of the board. She has given much time and effort to those positions, and we will be presenting an appreciation plaque to her this evening. But she has certainly been very thorough in terms of her commitment to be informed and be involved. And so we want to thank her this evening for that service. We will be talking about the replacement of the synthetic grass on the football fields. Both of those fields at Rio Rancho and Cleveland are in need of replacement, and they are reaching the point of being unsafe to play on. And so it's really timely that we need to get that done. As you heard earlier during the Finance Committee meeting, part of that has had to do with drainage problems and problems that we need to remediate so that the turf will have a longer lifespan. And so that is a challenge. I think occasionally of the biblical advice that, you don't build your house on the sand, you build it on the rock. Unfortunately, at Rio Rancho, we're almost all sand. And so that has been a huge challenge in terms of being able to prevent drainage issues for both buildings and fields. And so that has been a factor in terms of our synthetic fields that are currently in the district. I've had several people ask me, why aren't we doing grass fields? They prefer them. I will have to tell you, over the history of the district, we have tried grass fields numerous times with numerous, really strong efforts, and every one was a total failure. It's very hard to grow a turf in the soil conditions that we have in Rio Rancho, and so synthetic is really our best field. I think we replaced the grass fields about 4 times before we finally did give up. So we've been there and tried that. We just couldn't get it to work. And then certainly Melanie Archibald, Bruce Carver, and Michael Madrid will provide an update on the 2 projects. And also, you heard earlier the financial challenges that we have had as the costs have been steadily rising for the cost of those fields, but we do have a way to deal with that. This last Friday, we had a Naiop Recognition at their Awards of Excellence. It was, they are a wonderful group. They are real estate and developers in the Albuquerque metro area. And every year they have a Awards of Excellence, which they did at the Marriott Uptown in Albuquerque. They have several key awards, but this year the city of Rio Rancho Public Schools, and Pierre Amastoy, who is developer, for the successful collaboration that resulted in the completion of the Unser Gateway project. And so it was announced on Friday, and it was a nice announcement. Mayor Hall spoke, and he was the one that accepted the award on behalf of the group. And as you well know, the construction of Joe Harris was a very important part of that successful endeavor. But as a result of that collaboration, we were able to get that 4-lane road that goes out to the school and some other really important enhancements. And so as they looked at the collaboration among the 3 entities, they felt that worthy of the Vision Award this year for the state of New Mexico. And so we were very proud of that. We will have an update on the capital outlay request for the legislative session. As you know, the legislature will be convening in January, and This information was addressed in the finance meeting, but will be repeated by Michael Baker, Chief Operations Officer. As you know, all legislators get a certain amount of allocation for capital projects in their districts. And this is a really hard process for them because the needs are very great, not just the needs of the school district, but the city, the county, private entities. And so that process is a very competitive one. And legislators have the really tough job of choosing among those competing interests. That being said, we have some projects that are really needed that the district does not have the resources to achieve without some additional state help. And so we hope that the legislators may be able to find a way to help with at least some of those. And then, the other priority, the top priority that we've been discussing for quite some time is the career technical education effort to provide CTE services at a new campus. We're excited about that. We're really hopeful that that will be funded separately and will not actually be in competition with these other capital outlay requests, but we won't know that until the session. Lauren Hatch, our general counsel, will talk with you about a process that districts are required to follow in order to receive some funding for the purchase of a replacement school bus. And so you will be asked to accept that state appropriation this evening that is designated for the purpose of this replacement. We need more than one replaced, by the way, but we're grateful for that one. We will have a first reading of policy 1016. Sherry Carver, Director of Student Services, and Lauren Hatch, General Counsel, will propose some relatively minor changes to the dress code policy, and this came as a result of some New Mexico state legislation and regulatory changes. So it's a very minor change. This will be a first reading, so no board action can or will be taken on this policy. It will be brought at the next board meeting for a second reading. So there's plenty of opportunity if people wish to comment, provide any input on the policy. Just a few other updates. We continue to meet all the standards for being able to keep our schools open. And that is a result of some really hard work, both at the district and at the school levels. And so right now we are meeting all of those requirements and not close to having to close our schools. So I'm just grateful for the hard work of our staff that has made that a reality. And also a real thanks going out to our parents who have also worked very hard to keep those numbers down in our schools and our classrooms. The biggest challenge for us continues to be adequate staffing rather than the COVID case numbers themselves. And we know this is a problem with almost all districts right now in New Mexico and across the country. So staffing is probably the greatest threat to being able to keep all of our programs open. And so far we're doing fine with that. We have made progress in the hiring of our custodial staff. We're getting really close to having that staff completed. And so that's been tremendous amount of hard work with facilities and HR. But we still, as you heard earlier, still struggling for bus drivers. And the inability to have enough bus drivers means that student pickups are late. Sometimes there's double routes. There are all kinds of challenges, and we continue to work on that, but we need drivers. And so if anyone has an interest in driving a school bus, to see that we're continuing to work on some additional enhancements that we really hope will bring us some additional drivers. We one thing that I just feel the board needs to know, we are unfortunately seeing an increase in the number of staff, especially teachers, who are retiring at the end of this month rather than the end of the school year, which is the norm. And so we are in the process of looking for December graduates who might be interested in coming into our district. And we certainly would have some positions available. So if you know anyone who's interested in that, they should look at the website. But we are going to have a good number of teacher openings at the end of December. And that's all I have. I'll answer any questions or if there are any comments from the board, I would be glad to respond.
Okay, and a lot of these will be coming up, as she said. So, but Gary Tripp, do you have any questions based off of anything at this point?
Dr. Cleveland, Madam Chair, Dr. Cleveland, my only question is, do we know what the numbers are as far as shortage of teachers right now for the second semester?
The state of New Mexico is over 1,200. And we are not the only ones seeing an increase in December retirements and resignations. So I believe that it will be greater at the beginning of January. But as of right now, we have 1,200 vacancies for teaching positions in the state of New Mexico. We have a program, and I won't go into that in great detail. It's a teacher intern program that has been very successful, and we're hoping to be able to expand on that program. We're finding most of the teachers who come in the intern program, and this is not a student teacher program, come into the intern program, stay, and are successful when they complete the program. So we're looking at how we might find the resources to expand that program, but we're not in good shape. And that was the topic of conversation with our superintendents last week. What are we going to do? And there are some rather, some very different approaches to how we may have to look at staffing, how we'll look at staffing our classrooms in the future.
Okay, go ahead, Jeffrey Morgan.
No questions. Thank you.
Okay, and Catherine Cullen? Noreen Scott?
No question.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Cleveland. We appreciate it. Okay. Oh. Okay. We're always having mic issues up here. That's okay. Okay. So for our next item, we'll move to item E to approve the prioritized agenda and proposed time allocations. Do we have a motion, or is there anything that needs to change?
Yes, I move to approve the prioritized agenda and proposed time allocations.
Board member.
Board Member Jeff Morgan, I second.
Okay, we have a motion by Noreen Scott and a second by Jeff Morgan. We're in open meeting, so I think we can just go ahead. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. It passes 5-0. Okay. All right, for our next item, item F is our public comment. And so I'm going to read out a whole bunch of stuff with our public comment. It's interesting being back in. So now we have public comment that's written, and we also have public comment that we have some individuals who are here tonight, and we're excited to have them come up in just a moment. So let me go ahead and get started. So the board reserves the right to limit or curtail repetitive comments or other expressions that are obscene, profane, disruptive of orderly conduct of the board's meeting, harassing or defamatory or not in keeping with the decorum of the school board. Meetings which include students or other minors, in order to accommodate the greatest number of speakers within the total time allotted for public comment. Time is allocated on a per speaker basis, so a maximum of 3 minutes per person. And unused time will be redirected to the appropriate administrative procedures for review and handling. Since no action can be taken by the board at this meeting, your item may be placed on a future agenda for further consideration. Those desiring to comment on an action item on the agenda must indicate on the public participation sign-up sheet prior to the start. The board accepts and reviews written public comment. And so for those who are still desiring to give us written public comment, you can do so by going to the form on the rrps.net, the school board page. So with that, before we go to our public comment of those who are here, I'm just going to go over briefly the comment that we received through the internet. And once again, I just want to say, because it's interesting, because a lot of people don't realize we can't comment back when we have public comment. And I mean, I think so we always see all these videos of school boards and such, and they just can't comment back. And so that's an important thing to know. But we do appreciate everything that everyone that's here tonight. So with that, we received through our form, we received 5 public written comments. 4 of them were from Petra Smith, all concerning masks and asking that we remove that mask mandate from the schools, which I'm not going to I can't public comment on it. Okay, I almost broke the rule. And then the fifth one that we received was from Megan Dottie Powdrell. And her comments were revolved around the schedule that we've been keeping for the school year this year, and that it's been inconvenient for their family and also for others in our school community. She would like for us to keep the same schedule as the surrounding school districts, and to think about that as we work on the school schedule for the next year. Okay. So with that, I'm going to take a look at our public comments. So tonight we'll start our public comment. Our first one to sign up was Ramon Montano, who is one of our previous board members. And we'll invite him to come up. And you heard all those things that I said, right, Ramon?
Good evening, Madam President, Mr. Vice President, Secretary, members of the board, Superintendent Cleveland, members of the audience. I just came here on behalf of serving with Catherine as long as I did, a little 5 years on the Board of Education. I've asked to speak at several board meetings. I've only chose to speak at 3 of them. And reason why is because taking the oath of office and running for school board is seriously, you hear it at all the conferences. You hear it when you travel to DC, that this is probably the most thankless job you could have as an elected official. And it pisses me off because I disagree. We might not have the perks of some of the other higher offices in the state or at the federal government, but I think it's the most important position you can hold because this is as local as you get, touching, working with our teachers and our students. And when I got to work with Catherine, I was really impressed how well she really understood her role as a school board member, her statutory duties of what a board member is, because people run for office and then 3 months later they're figuring out what their oath of office is and what their statutory duties are. And a lot of times, there's sometimes we bumped heads, Catherine and I. We locked horns. And I remember after a board meeting one time, with the mask, it's kind of funny because you can't really see yourselves, but she expresses herself with her face. So I could tell when she was not happy with me, but wanted to say something to me. So I took my time getting in my car because I knew she wanted to say something. So finally she came up to me. She goes, I just don't know how to say it. Just say it. I'm not going to hold a grudge. Say it. We're on a team. Say it. Oh, no. I don't know if you remember that conversation we had there. She goes, I agree with everything you said tonight because I got voted down 4-1 on an issue. And I said, okay. And she's like, oh. And I just said, Catherine, just say it. And she goes, your delivery sucked. and I was thankful for that criticism because I was wondering what the heck was going on. And, I went back, reflected, and I said, maybe I needed to change the way I was messaging, all due respects, and some of the things I would say before I criticize my colleagues on their approach or not passing what I thought was important to pass at the time. But, I thought that was important for us because I think, you guys are a team and it's important to be able to share that with one another when, 1 minute. So I thought it was important for me to come because I really respected the amount of information that I'm telling you now, I train school board members, I travel, and I'm just shocked with them opening their board book for the first time at a board meeting. And I can always count on Catherine doing her homework, her research. And I know a lot of people in the community don't really understand, but it takes a lot of time to really research what's going on, what we're voting on, how it's going to impact the district, the pros, the cons to what we're looking at. Those aren't easy things to do. And believe it or not, there's a lot of people who just don't take the time to do that, who sit in these positions. But that's not Catherine. Catherine really took her time. She really dabbled into the finances to understand how money was being allocated and wanted to be very transparent. And that's why I respect her for that reason, because she kept everybody on their game. And I think it's important to have a team player like who brings that to the table. And like I said, who's willing enough to tell me that my delivery sucked, helped me as a board member. So I just wanted to say congratulations. Since COVID broke out, I made these walking sticks for people to get out, enjoy. I'm telling you right now, Catherine, I forgot how to get here, coming here. I missed the road with construction. I'm just saying, enjoy your time with your family, get out and walk once in a while and enjoy your free time. But God bless you. And
Thank you.
Ramon, thank you very much for taking the time to recognize Catherine's efforts. It really is valuable to have a former board member come and do this. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. And then our next public comment, and I am probably going to mispronounce your name, so make sure you say it the right way when you come up, is Daryl Philippek, and he's going to talk about our bullying policy. We appreciate you being here.
So thank you. And you nailed it. That was perfect. So I do see some familiar names that I've communicated with within the last couple of days. So forgive me if I'm a little bit redundant on some of the conversation. I'd like to say that, congratulations on your victory with football. I think that's absolutely amazing. I'm a product of Division I professional sports. I know how hard that is and what kind of achievement that is. So congratulations to all of our RRPS for that. That said, my son is never going to be here in front of you because he's won anything with respect to athletics. In fact, it's just the opposite. Great kid, but he's bullied in your schools. And as a parent, there can't be a more heartbreaking situation than that. And I'm not here to talk about his specific situation, but for all the kids that are bullied in the schools. It seems like every week, every month, we're hearing about kids taking their own lives. We hear about kids taking others' lives. And it seems to me that this should be one of the most important things that we do, is creating a safe environment for our children to go to every day. It's a leap of faith when I have my son go to school and know that he's going to be protected, and probably for every single parent out there, whether they're a victim of a bully or they're bullying, they just don't know. Because of where I'm at, it really made me look at this a lot closer and made me an advocate for it. So in addition to what I'm trying to do to help him advocate for himself at home, I tried to understand what was going on in the schools, and this is what I found. So when you look at the very basics, the student handbook online, there's nothing in the handbook that references bullying except in the discipline matrix. There's the word bullying, and it tells you what the punishment is. Nothing to reference, this is what bullying is, and this is basically, it's just, this is what's going to happen. Do they even know what it is? They may not. Looking at bullying on your website, you can report it on the website. If you scroll down a long ways to the very bottom, you have a link. As important as this is, why is this not right at the top? I know this is minor, but this should be something that's front and center for everybody. I understand teachers get training on it, and that's great. The students don't get training. That's not great. I do understand, I think Ms. Cullen was nice enough to send me policy 1010. That should absolutely be in the student handbook. Not everything, but you read it, it makes sense. I think it would make sense to the kids as well. So everything that I've looked at, it really comes from a place of being reactive to a situation when it happens. When the situation happened to my son, I will say the school did a very, very good job reacting. They did what they needed to do based on the policy. So no complaints there. But where I think there's a gap is the ability to be more proactive, for things to happen on the front end so that a culture can be created in the schools so that it's not the teachers doing it. Because I found out from my son that you tell a teacher and snitches get stitches, right? So it makes the situation worse. So what we need is a culture within the school where it's policed not just by teachers, but the whole school, and kind of getting on board to make this thing happen.
Daryl, I hate to cut you off, but we're at our 3-minute mark.
Okay.
Will you please
Have
send
one
us
more minute?
Please send us some of that information.
Okay.
I want to say thank you for coming in and just speaking to us today.
All right.
So thank you. Okay, thank you so much. This is, we haven't actually had an opportunity to have people in public comment. And so I really do want to thank everyone for coming in today. And for those members of our community who would like to come in, we love to see your faces and hear everything that you have to say. There's good, bad, and ugly. And so we invite everyone to come in to give those comments, and also to do that through our forum if you would rather do it that way. But we appreciate those public comments that do come in. Okay. Do we do a recess?
One thing I'd just like to emphasize that you can also bring written, more in-depth information for the board to review, and they always review that. So I know that if you have more to say than the 3 minutes, there is that option to bring it in. And I will tell you, the board reads every single thing they get, and that's just another option. So.
That's okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Cleveland. We appreciate it. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and take just like a 2-minute recess. If you actually, can we do that? Give me a 4-minute recess, if you will, on the clock. I appreciate it. Thank you. And so Why don't you? How about I have you read the plaque? You can say what you want to, and then I'll go. Okay. Do you need to count me down, Kim? I'll go ahead and. I'm going to go ahead and call it to order, though we are going to get a countdown as well to make sure that the live feed is up, but I'll go ahead and just call us back to order, and then Kim can start before we go to the next. And you tell me when, Kim, and I'll go into the.
I think we probably are ready. So I'll waiting to hear back from John.
Okay.
Got to remember to turn my microphone on too. Okay, stand by. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8.
Okay, we'd like to welcome everyone back into our meeting now, and we get to go right into commendations. Our first commendation we were able to do during opening comments. Some of those individuals were able to get to some various destinations. And so we will go to our second commendation, which is the recognition of, gosh, those words are somewhat harsh. I feel like the retiring Rancho Public School board member, Catherine Cullen. And to get us started, we're going to go to Dr. Cleveland, and then I'll go from there.
This plaque. Okay, we're going to get this. This is I'm just learning. Okay. All right. This plaque says Catherine Cullen, Board of Education Recognition and Appreciation of Service. She was elected on February 3rd, 2013, served as president in 2019, and as vice president from 2015 to 2019, and has served as a board member the other years. And I will give this to Board President Galbraith to actually present. I want to say our thanks to Catherine for her. You literally lived you were a wonderful example of due diligence means. I learned a lot about that process and working with Catherine, and really wish her the very best. And again, thank her for her service at the district.
All right, so I get to start us off tonight, Catherine. So the interesting thing that happened is that when Kim came and brought me this plaque, something I didn't really foresee happening is that I got emotional just when she handed me this. I feel like when you've worked through the trenches with someone, which we have in the last 2 years in an unforeseen way, that you get to know people and you get to love people and all that they do in this service. And I'm getting emotional here, but when we first started out 2 years ago, I think we all came as we were just these individuals who were so different. And as we worked out together over the last few years, and you've worked on numerous boards, and so I'm sure you've seen this a lot, but I can speak to ours, is that what we realized is that our differences weren't as many, I guess, as we thought. And we had so much more in common than what we realized. There was one meeting when we were talking about masks, and Catherine came in and she had all of this paperwork that she was going to bring forth so that she could kind of like prove her point. And as we went through the meeting, she didn't need any of it. I just remember being like, oh, I didn't actually need all of this, because as we worked really well together as a board. And if you don't know Catherine, and Ramon kind of talked to it earlier, she prepares and prepares and prepares. And what I learned is she prints everything out. And so during when we were in our homes and we couldn't go anywhere, and we were receiving, I think at one point there was like 80 to 100 public comment that came through. Catherine printed them all out and I think had highlighted parts of them and different things, which I'm laughing, but we all read through all those things, but I was just amazed that she had everything out and ready to go. And she wanted to know everything that was going on with everyone so that she could be a better board member and make sure that the changes that needed to take place within our district were taking place, and that she was doing what she needed to do to be a good board member. So I did something embarrassing, and I asked her to kind of just write down some of the things that she's been able to do over her time. So it's been 8 years that she's been on the board, which now that I've been doing it for 2, I find 8 years amazing. And so Did it? Okay. Okay. So it's all, yeah, that's right, because of the way it changed. And so she has been on the board for a very long time. And as you said, we don't really make any money or anything like that for being on the board. It's a lot to do. And these are some of the things that Catherine's been able to accomplish within the state of New Mexico to be a better board member for our district. So she served as a secretary of the region. So we have a New Mexico School Board Association that all the school boards are a part of. And so she served as secretary for our region on the board of directors for that. She's also served on the New Mexico School Board Resolutions and Legislative Committee, which when we've done resolutions, that's actually been very, very helpful to use her knowledge of that, having worked on that committee in the past. She served as the Sea Retention and Expansion on the Sea Retention and Expansion Committee. During this time, she's graduated from Leadership New Mexico, which is a local government leadership program. She's also graduated from Leadership Sandoval County. Both those things have helped her just to be a better leader for our district. She's also chaired the Finance Committee. She was conducting the meeting right before this one tonight. She served on the Audit Committee. She's also served as Dr. Cleveland said, the vice president and the president of our school board. She's also served on the Behavioral Health Advisory Committee, which is something that's been, I know, close to her heart, and also our previous board member, Wynn Coleman. And she has served, I wanted to save this one kind of for last, she served on the CTE Committee, which has really set a great foundation for a lot of things that we are seeing happen in our district right now. She's been talking about being emotional. She's been pretty emotional as we've gone through the process over the last few months, trying to get the building that we want and to really see that work to really move forward. And so, Catherine, I just want to say, on behalf of the board and just myself, thank you so much for everything that you've done. You have been a great mentor to me, helping me to learn and to grow and help me to know the things that I had no idea when I got on the board, the things that would be that I would be confronted with, and you've really helped me to grow in that. And so I want to say thank you so much. So I'm going to go ahead and present this to her now, and then we'll go through the board and let everyone talk, and then you can speak too. Okay. All right. Let me hand this over to you. It has a whole box. Great. Thank you.
Catherine, why don't you stand up and get your picture?
We'll do it like the chorus. Let's do it like the chorus.
Yeah, there you go. You guys both had a lot of practice for that.
Okay, awesome.
And then now you can.
Okay. I never realized how short I am until I'm standing by you guys. All right. So with that, we'll go ahead and start. Gary Tripp's been here shortest with us, but yet he's worked with Catherine. She's been on the school board because she's been on it for so long. So we'll start with Gary Tripp if he'd like to say anything.
So, Catherine, I have so many stories from the last 30 days. That was kind of a joke. No, but real in seriousness, I was able to work with Catherine when I was here in the Rio Rancho School District, and I saw her ethics, her hard work and legislative issues, her demanding on legislators to do their job for children, and I truly appreciate from the bottom of my heart what you did the last 8 years for our students, and not only our students but for the students in the state of New Mexico. You have a passion, you have a great passion, and thank you for your service. Appreciate it.
Catherine, I just want to say thank you so much. When I first became a board member, I thought I had a very tough, relentless work ethic until I saw yours. And I said, I still have a long way to go. So thank you for challenging me to always be prepared when I come to the meetings. There's something that I've really learned from you. So again, thank you for your support. Thank you for your challenges. And it's been a great learning experience. And I wish you good luck, whatever you're going to be doing moving forward.
Thank you. Okay.
Catherine, first of all, I'd like to thank you for your service. You have done a tremendous service for this school district, and I'm very grateful for that. I also want to thank you for taking the time when we were newly elected board members to sit down with us and talk to us and prepare us. You really set the tone for where we were going as a school board. And you helped us transition from one board to another. And I hope that that leadership ability continues with the rest of us, because that dedication and setting that tone had a tremendous value for me on what was expected of me as a board member here. And I think that it's a real tribute to you that Ramon, a past board member, came to talk to you and talk about you. And I just want you to know we're very grateful, and we hope you will not be a stranger, but will continue to come back and give us advice and give us guidance, because you have been a leader. Thank you.
And then Dr. Cleveland has a little bit more.
Just building on what has just been said, one of the, I think, indicators of real leadership is that board member Cullen said, I'll still be here and I'll still be available. And if you need me, you just need to ask for me to come in and help. And I think that's a sign of real leadership. And so we thank you for your service, but also for your ongoing commitment to the district and your willingness to still be part of our district. And so I thank you for that and wish you well.
All right, go ahead if you'd like to say anything.
One thing you did you forgot on that one. It's okay. No, it's a master board member. And I really highly recommend that you all look into becoming master board members, getting the education, understanding the statutory duties and the leadership. It's a great program that the New Mexico School Board Association has. So first, I really like to thank my family, because they're back there. If you guys want to stand up, Richard, Caitlin, and Genevieve. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have had the time to do this. When I started, Genevieve was only 10. And so my per diem went to pay for daycare or a babysitter for her at night. So the poor babysitter didn't get a whole lot, but because my husband had meetings, and a lot of you might recognize her because she came to a lot of events with me when we do the graduation or the award ceremonies. She would come to those dinners with me, and I really appreciate all their understanding for all the events. Because when I started, I went to almost every single event that anybody invited me to. If you invited me, I went and I showed up. So there was a lot of events that I would go to, but it was a great way to be able to understand what our schools are doing when you go to those events that they invite you to. And then for 20 years, I've always volunteered for something. Whether it was organ donation awareness, I served on a National Kidney Foundation transplant games. Then I went on to Parent Association for University of New Mexico when my daughter was there, Kay Linda, and now Genevieve's over there. So we'll see if I get involved there again. But I was really trying to figure out what I was going to do next. And then a few of you might know now, just before Thanksgiving, Kay Linda announced to us that she is making us a grandparents. And so in June, we'll have a grandbaby. So now I know what I'll be spending some of my time with. But, it's just been an honor to serve within Rio Rancho Public Schools and have met amazing people, have great friends from serving here over the years. And it's really sad. When I was thinking about it, almost kind of want to cry because you're leaving a family, but I'll still be around, like we had said. So, so I think that's probably, about it before I start crying. I will say that I do have, and I'll get that to them. I had some campaign funds from last time that I ran, so I've had for a while. So I'll be donating it to the Rio Rancho Education Foundation so that money can come back to the teachers and the students here.
Great. Awesome.
Okay, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for. really is a family. You're saying family, and it's not just the board. Like, I feel like the district, like it's so fun to work with so many amazing individuals. So, all right. Thank you, Catherine. And don't worry, you can drive a bus if we need you.
We already said I will not drive a bus.
We love you.
You don't want me to drive anywhere.
All right. So on our next item, we'll move on to H, to approve the consent agenda. Is there any questions or anything on the consent agenda or a motion?
This is Noreen Scott. I move to approve the consent agenda.
This is Board Member Catherine Cullen. I second.
Okay. We have a motion by Noreen Scott and a second by Catherine Cullen. Kim, will you just go ahead and take a roll call vote for us?
Yes, we can do that. President Galbraith,
Yes.
Vice President Morgan,
Yes.
Secretary Scott.
Yes.
Board Member Cullen.
Yes.
Board Member Tripp.
Yes.
5-0.
Thank you. Motion carries. Okay, moving into our business portion, we'll first consider the approval of the unapproved minutes for November 15th, 2021, a board work session. Any changes that anyone saw that needs to take place on that? And if not, if there's a motion.
Board Member Catherine Cullen, I make a motion to approve.
Board Member Jeff Morgan, I second.
Okay. We have a motion by Catherine Cullen and a second by Jeff Morgan. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Next, to consider the approval of the unapproved minutes for 11/15/2021, the regular board meeting. Any changes or a motion?
The motion to approve minutes for 11/15/21 regular board meeting.
Board Member Jeff Morgan, I second.
Okay, we have a motion by Catherine Cullen and a second by Jeff Morgan. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, carries 5-0. All right, next we'll consider the approval of RFP number 2022-009 FAC synthetic grass field replacement at Cleveland High School. Michael Madrid, our purchasing director, Melanie Archibek, our executive director of facilities, and Bruce Carver, our executive director of athletics, are here to present.
Thank you, Board President Galbraith, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Cleveland. I actually have two procurements that are very similar. They're both for synthetic grass replacements at our two high schools, at VSU Cleveland and at Rio Rancho High School. The responses were the exact same on both procurements, so I kind of want to go through who provided us a proposal response. We initiated this on behalf of the facilities department. They were working with the athletics department. The vendors that provided a response are Field Turf USA, Hellas Construction, and Lone Mountain Contracting. Field Turf is out of Calhoun, Georgia. Hellas is out of Austin, Texas, and Lone Mountain is out of Bosque Farms. I do want to mention that Field Turf engaged a partnership with Westwind Landscaping, a local landscaping contractor out of Albuquerque who will be performing a significant amount of the construction activities for both projects. As is typical, we take the submittals, we conduct a pass-fail verification to ensure that they provided all the mandatory documents that were identified in the procurement. We have confirmed that, yes, all three met the mandatory requirements and they were submitted to the evaluation committee for scoring and discussion based on the evaluation criteria identified in the RFP. What I'd like to do is highlight some of the projects that the team of Field Turf USA and Westwind Landscaping Contracting has performed for Rio Rancho, for APS, and other entities within the state of New Mexico. They have performed work at Rio Rancho Middle School, the courtyard. They performed some work at VSU Cleveland High School. For APS, they did the soccer field at Cibola High School, Atrisco Heritage Academy High School, Volcano Vista High School, La Cueva High School, Sandia High School baseball field, Valley High School baseball field, Rio Grande High School, Del Norte High School, El Dorado High School, Albuquerque High School, West Mesa, Cleveland Middle School. They've also resurfaced the 2 football fields at Wilson and at Milne Stadium. For the state of New Mexico University, for the University of New Mexico, they resurfaced the football field. They've also done some work at New Mexico Junior College, Bloomfield High School, Marmura High School baseball field, Marmura High School softball field, and Alamo High School. I do also want to mention that the evaluation criteria was broken into 2 sections. One of them was technical qualifications, and the other piece was price. It turned out that Field Turf and Westwind was the highest ranked on the qualification side, and it also turns out that they provided us the best price. This information is going to be very similar or identical to the next item, which is solicitation of approval for RFP 2022-008-FAC, synthetic grass field replacements at Rio Rancho High School. I would recommend that we take these together and maybe just make a motion to accept the low respondent, or the most qualified respondent, Field Turf USA for both projects. And with that, I stand for any questions.
All right. Questions. Actually, let me go real quick. Dr. Cleveland, do you want to add anything before we go to questions for the board? We're good. Okay. Gary, Tripp, do you have any questions on this?
No questions.
Okay. Jeffrey Morgan,
No
any
questions.
no
Thank you.
questions? Catherine, Colin, Noreen Scott.
Quick question. You said most qualified, so it wasn't the lowest bidder this time, it was the most qualified?
It turned out that they were both, ma'am, Board Member Scott. They were on the technical qualifications. They ranked the highest. They received the most points, and they happened to give us the best price as well. So
Thank you for the clarification.
Got both.
Appreciate it.
yes, ma'am.
With that, I would like to make a motion to accept the RFP number 2022009 and 20002 for synthetic grass field replacement at Rio Rancho High School and Cleveland High School.
So one's 8, the other one's 8.
It's 008.
Did I say it wrong? I'm sorry, 008.
Should you announce, did you announce the company?
The Field Turf.
Do I need to say the name of the company?
Awarded to Field Turf.
Awarded to Field Turf USA.
This is Board Member Catherine Cullen. I second that.
Okay. And okay, so we have a motion by Noreen Scott and a second by Catherine Cullen. Can you take a roll call vote for us on these two?
Yes, I can. And this motion is to approve both items on the agenda, right?
Correct.
Both C
Correct.
and D.
Correct.
All right. Vice President Morgan,
Yes.
Secretary Scott,
Yes.
Board Member Cullen, Board Member Tripp,
Yes.
President Galbraith.
Yes.
Passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you. All right, our next item E is to consider the approval of capital outlay priorities for the 2022 legislative session. Michael Baker, our Chief Operations Officer, is here to present.
Yes, Madam President, Dr. Cleveland, members of the school board. Previously, we reviewed capital outlay priorities. Essentially, I'll say, we'll talk about 4 different groupings. The first one, obviously, is the career technical education. The second grouping on your capital outlay sheet has to do with our network and increasing our connectivity in regard to our network. The next grouping has to do with improving our HVAC systems, the HVAC systems that are not being replaced this year. And finally, the last grouping of capital has to do with increasing security, such as enhancing our fire alarm system and other and surveillance systems. In the interest of time, I stand for questions.
We did have this presented to us in finance, and so that's helpful just to put that out there. So Gary Tripp, do you have some questions?
Madam President, Mr. Baker, when you said the grouping of the 3 different groupings, Is that the priority of the spending?
That's the priority on the ask in regard to our delegation.
Okay. I just would like to see school safety always as the first thing, so the security. So that's my only comment, but that's my only question.
Okay. Okay.
To add to that, I just want to say that we do have our surveillance system. This is an enhancement to that surveillance system, just to be a little bit clearer.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Jeffrey Morgan.
No questions. Thank you, Mike. Good work. Appreciate it.
Catherine Cullen. Noreen Scott. I just want to thank you for putting all these together. And I think Melanie always works hard on these too. That I wish that we could get everything. I wish that we could get everything. And so thank you for prioritizing those to the best needs for what the district needs. So thank you. Dr. Cleveland, did you want to add anything?
Just again, our legislators have a very tough job in terms of going through our requests and those of the city, the county, and others as well. But they've generally really stepped up to help our district. And so we hope they'll be able to do that this time, and really are thankful for their commitment over many years to try to help us. All these projects are important to our schools.
We did have the opportunity to meet with some different legislators over the last couple of weeks, and I'm just amazed at the support that they have for our schools. And so we appreciate them in their efforts. So with that, if there's no other questions, do we have a motion?
Board Member Jeff Morgan, I make a motion to approve the capital outlay priorities for 2022.
This is Board Member Catherine Cullen, I second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Jeffrey Morgan and a second by Catherine Cullen. And then Kim, if you could take a roll call vote for us on this.
Vice President Morgan,
Yes.
Secretary Scott,
Yes.
Board Member Cullen,
Yes.
Board Member Tripp,
Yes.
President Galbraith.
Yes,
Motion carries 5-0.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. For item F, to consider the acceptance of state capital approbation DFA A21 F3213 for purchase of replacement school bus as per bar 27178-2122-0044. And Lauren Hatch, our general counsel, is here.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm Lauren Hatch, the district's general counsel. Glad to be here today, members of the board, Dr. Cleveland. Just presenting for the board's approval a grant agreement from the Department of our Department of Education. During the 2021 regular session, PED was awarded capital outlay of about $3.5 million for the purchase of buses and equipment, purchase and equipping of buses statewide. Our share is $104,444. In order for us to accept that grant, the board has to approve it. And I'm here to propose that you approve this grant application. It's in the form that PED typically uses, and I'd recommend approval. And I stand for any questions.
This is Secretary Noreen Scott. I move approval of the state appropriation from DFA number A21F3213 for the purchase and replacement of a school bus.
Okay.
Board Member Jeff Morgan, I second.
Okay. Are there any questions before I go for the vote? Do you have any questions? Okay. All right. So we have a motion by Noreen Scott and a second by Jeffrey Morgan. And Kim, if you take a roll call vote for us on this one.
Vice President Morgan,
Yes.
Secretary Scott,
Yes.
Board Member Cullen,
Yes.
Board Member Tripp,
Yes.
and President Galbraith.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So for our next item G, we have the first reading of revisions to policy 1016, our dress code. Sherry Carver, Executive Director of Student Services, will be presenting, and Lauren Hatch is also here for any questions that we might have.
Good evening, President Galbraith, members of the board, and Dr. Cleveland. Again, congratulations, member Catherine Cullen, for your retirement from the board. And as the former principal at Rio Rancho High School, I always appreciated you coming to so many events when I was the principal there. And the students did too as well. We bring to you tonight the first reading of revision to policy 1016, which is dress code. We are requesting revisions to this policy to meet the criteria and regulations of House Bill 29, which prohibits imposition of discipline, discrimination, or disparate treatment against a student based on the student's race, religion, or culture, or because of the student's use of protective hairstyles or culture or religious hairdresses. So in the first paragraph, or second paragraph, excuse me, you'll see in red there, we are actually requesting to put in the verbiage that I just gave you that says that we prohibit those things that I just read. And the only thing that we found that prohibited hairstyling or hairdresses in our policy was in 2H. So if you scroll on down, we are proposing that we take out the reference to do-rags and hairnets in our dress code policy. And those are the two changes that we believe that will get us in compliance to House Bill 29 according to the criteria.
All right, thank you. Dr. Cleveland, do you want to add anything before I go to the board? Okay. Gary, do you have any questions? Okay. Jeff?
No questions, thank you.
Okay. Catherine, any questions?
Thank you. I know we discussed this up in Taos when we were at the leadership meeting, so thank you.
Yeah. And then Noreen, do you have any questions? Okay. All right. With that, I'll entertain a motion. Oh, no, I'm not. It's just a discussion because it's first reading and it says that we're not doing that. Anyway, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I get on a roll sometimes.
Thank you.
Okay. So we will go into advanced planning. So we have December 21st, a congratulations for our Independence High School winter graduation. That will be at 6 o'clock at Cleveland High School in their concert hall. December 23rd through January 5th is the best time of the year. It's winter break. January 6th through the 7th will be a staff in-service. January 10th, classes will resume. We will also have a regular board meeting on January 10th. That will be 5:30 here. On the 17th, we have our Martin Luther King holiday. No classes on that day. The 17th, kind of save the date. There will be a board workshop on the Cognia accreditation process once again at 4:30. And then January 21st, we have the Rio Rancho Sandoval County District Spelling Bee at 9:30 a.m. and that will be at Cleveland. The 24th of January, Finance Committee meeting at 4:30. Also on the 24th will be a regular board meeting. And then February 2nd through the 5th, this is a pretty important, I don't know how it'll look this year, but we have a NMSBA Board Member Institute that will be up in Santa Fe. And so that's for our advanced planning. And we'll now move, so.
Just 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question. It says that the Cognia accreditation process training starts at 4:30. When do we anticipate it ending?
Hopefully that will be about an hour. I don't see Mr. Leppelman here, but I think about an hour. This was actually.
It's here, it's right there.
There you go.
We can't see with the masks on. It's you'd never. Sure.
Yeah, it's hard to read through the mask. We would think about an hour. We understood that we didn't have time last time, Madam President, and the board, Dr. Cleveland, to really get into the depth to make sure you understood the standards, felt comfortable with the process, and probably about 15, 20 minutes for questions. We'd like it a little more interactive and some time to look at that. So maybe we were thinking possibly up to an hour and a half, but no more than that if there were questions. Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Okay. Thank you.
Madam President, could
Yes.
I?
Let me just stress the purpose of this. We had a couple of board members ask if we would be doing any additional work with the board. The visit will be less than 2 weeks from that meeting. So it's just to give everyone a level of comfort. We are told during the interview process with board members, they will be pairing a veteran board member with a new board member coming on. And certainly they understand that new board members may not have the experience of the sitting board, but we just want to go over and make sure that everyone is comfortable. So that's the intent. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Kim?
Yeah, just very quickly, members of the board, if you are planning to attend the Independence graduation, could you please let me know? Thank you.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
He indicated that he's going to need about an hour and a half. So we move that meeting time up because it's only an hour here on the agenda. So should we move that up so we can have the proper time that he needs to do what he needs to do?
Like a 4 o'clock meeting
So
time?
should we set it for 4 o'clock then?
I think that's fine as long as it works with everyone's work schedules. So it's not an issue. I think for those, I work in the mornings, I'm done. So if 4 o'clock works for, it would be,
Yes, yes, it is.
it,
No, it's not.
It says regular board meeting at 5:30. January 24th?
no, it's the 17th. It's the 17th.
My bad.
But we can still move to 4 if you guys would rather. Yeah, I guess.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
separate day, so you're not going.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I
Yeah.
was looking at. My bad.
If that works for you, Jeff, though, I don't think any of the district would be sad if
I'm good
we
with that.
went a little earlier. We can still go at 4. if that
Four,
works.
4 works good. We let these people get home earlier.
Yeah, right. That's
Yeah.
what I think too.
Mhm.
So if we can do 4 and we'll check with our new board member too and make sure that that's an okay time for her as well. Okay. Any other on advanced planning? Any other questions or anything? Okay. Okay. So now we'll consider a motion to convene an executive session to meet with legal counsel for the purpose of discussing pending litigation with Karen Bollinger, Warner versus Board of Education of Rio Rancho Public Schools. Case number D-1329-CV-2020-005117 in the New Mexico District Court for the 13th Judicial District under Section 10-15-1H7 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act, specifically to update the board regarding recent developments in the case.
This is Board Member Catherine Cullen. I move to executive.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Board Member Jeff Morgan, a second.
Okay. We have a motion by Catherine Cullen and a second by Jeff Morgan. And then Kim, can you take a roll call vote for us on this?
Vice President Morgan,
Yes.
Secretary Scott, Board Member Cullen,
Yes.
Board Member Tripp,
Yes.
and President Galvin.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. We'll now move into executive. Thank you all.